Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Marquise, and welcome to It's More Than Just Dating podcast. This podcast, we keep it real, talking about real life topics and events that people go through. Our hope today is to provide useful knowledge and wisdom to help you have a flourishing relationship. Today, we're going to be diving into some really good juicy stuff. A lot of these topics, a lot of people has actually been asking about a lot of this stuff. So today we will be answering and diving into a lot of good juicy topics. One of the big things that I would say a lot of people wanted us to talk about is it a correct way to dating? I think a lot of people is asking that because they'll end up dating someone or think that they're dating someone and then they'll end up actually getting hurt. And so for them, they're trying to figure out, is it actually a correct way where I can gauge to figure out, where we're actually going at through this talking process, or are we actually dating? And so today we are going to dissect that and get into that. So I am so excited. But today I have, oh man, uh, a OG, amazing person. Man, I can't believe I even have her on the show. So I'm totally honored. I have Karen Bazinski with me today. She is a teacher on building better relationships since 1981. So we got longevity here, y'all. This is not anyone that just started that. So this is pretty amazing. She has a husband named Gary. They've been married since, is it 1981 or did I
Yeah,
read
40
that
years
wrong?
this year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
wow, 40 years. Man, I'm only 28. Goodness gracious, praise God. All right, and also she has written multiple books. One of her books is called How to Build an Enduring Marriage, that was released in 2014. So that's amazing right there. I love that. She's also written a book called How to Build Children with Integrity, and integrity is key, people. We all know that. She and Gary has 5 children, and I know them. They are amazing. Karen, y'all have done an amazing job with
Thanks.
raising your children. They actually got a sixth one. That's me.
Yeah, I like that.
So I truly appreciate that, and it's so much more that we can talk about, Karen. To be honest, I mean, president, chairman of a board of Vision and Hope. It's a nonprofit. It's so much. The list just goes on. Like, we'll probably actually have to do a podcast talking about how amazing she is. So
Thanks.
I don't want to belabor everyone, but thank you so much, Karen, for actually coming on the show. I truly appreciate this.
Thanks. It's an honor to be here, and it's a favorite topic of mine is building better relationships. So this is going to be really helpful to people who are entering into dating, giving them some things to think about before they go into dating, find out why they're dating and how to do it so that they all benefit and there aren't those broken relationships left in the dust. So
Yes. And so how I found out more that Karen even, had all of this wisdom and knowledge was one of my good friends from the church, Ian. He had told me I need to talk to Karen if I'm looking to date correctly. He said, she has a lot of wisdom and knowledge, and Karen, she took my phone call. We had an amazing phone call, talked about a lot, learned a lot, giving me her book. Oh my goodness, I'm just like blessed. So I am on the track to a good relationship once I find that person. So just thank you so much. So we'll actually start off with, is there actually a correct way of dating? And, is it different kind of dates that people can go on?
absolutely. There's a correct way to date and there's an incorrect way to date. And especially when we're talking about dating, like inside of different groups or communities, if you don't date correctly, you can leave hurt and wounded people behind. And then you almost want to leave the area. You don't want to go to the same church anymore.
Yeah.
You don't, you find yourself having to go hide away from the results of that dating if it was incorrectly done. So yes, there's definitely a correct way to date. I think one of the greatest things about dating is that you have to look at dating, just like any other relationship, like the one of the most important things to me is our stewardship. You're giving stewardship over that relationship with another person, and actually you're given the responsibility of maybe being with another person's spouse if you don't end up with them. So approaching it from that way and saying like, I'm given the stewardship with this person for this period in my life. Like, am I going to make their life better as a result of my being in it? And are they going to make my life better as a result
Mm,
of being in my life? And if you can both intentionally declare that you intend to make each other's lives better by
yeah.
being in it, that's a great basis to start hanging out with somebody. I always used to say that to my kids, like, are you making their lives better? Are they making your lives better? If not, that's not a good friend.
Yeah.
And friendship is really the ultimate foundation for any relationship. I mean, you're going to be best friends with somebody that you end up with for your whole life. And so that's the way you want to start. You want to start a relationship walking into it so that you don't have any problem walking back out if you decide to.
Right.
But just even getting to know each other, I used to call dating the age of discovery,
Yeah.
where you can find out about another person. I mean, enjoy being with somebody. Keep it clean. Keep it, just invigorating and fun. Learning about somebody else's hobbies and cultures and things like some of my best hobbies I got from people that I hung out with while dating.
Wow.
So I mean, I loved running and sailing and cooking and things that I learned from hanging out with different people. But we kept it really clean. Just
Yeah.
keeping it pure and making sure that you didn't get too far in before you knew where that
Yeah.
relationship was going.
Uh,
So then you're leaving wounded people behind.
yeah. So I got a question. So, um, what would you tell women how to proceed forward with starting off dating and making sure that they're walking into it correctly? So if it doesn't work out, they can walk out of it and still have a friendship.
You know what? I really think that I always say that the best thing is to build your friendship. Find out about each other. Talk. Make a time to talk. When my husband and I were dating, I lived in an upper flat, but I had already, seen that it was a very good guideline for me not to let anybody come up to my upper flat. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't let any guys come up to my place. So um, at the end of the night, we would always end up in this cozy kitchen place. We would
Yeah.
have coffee and just talk into the wee hours of the morning, just really get to know each other. And our relationship grew so strong because it was it was not based on something physical.
Yeah.
It was based on us getting to know each other, getting to know our hobbies, getting to know our likes and dislikes, and talking about all kinds of things. We talked through things in that cozy kitchen that we ended up living out years later with our kids because we ended
Wow.
up together. But we knew each other so well from those talks at the cozy kitchen. So I would say that, for girls and women and men both,
Yeah.
like, utilize your time with people. Find out like what's important to you. Like, draw them out as a person. Find out a little bit about their past. Find out what their hobbies are. Find out what their interests are. Try to see if you have fun doing the various things. Like, my husband got me into all kinds of things. I always laugh because I say he pulled me out of my box, and
Right.
he makes me get a little wild. He's taking me, got me skiing down crazy places, and
Wow.
we did a lot of fun stuff together. And I think that if we hadn't made that intentionality to keep that physical part at bay, I think that people that force into that, then all that you have is a physical relationship. You never get that depth of a friendship.
Yeah.
So I feel like if you keep that physical part at bay and you end up with someone, that's going to always be good. But if you start off with that, you don't go deeper, like with the friendship part. And that's the part that's going to carry you through all the tough times.
Yes.
So building up friendship part and, finding out about, the other person's friends and what they do for fun and doing it with them and
Yes.
really getting out of your box to try some new things and be with some new experiences and stuff.
Wow, I love that. So what I really understand is the communication, and can you really connect with that person? And I think like most people, they can definitely tell who they can connect with, off of just a couple conversations, going out getting coffee a couple of times. Like pretty sure, you know who you can connect with and who you're trying to force the connection with. And I think a lot of people, they force the connection off of the looks. It has to be
Yeah.
off the looks. It can't be off of the conversation.
No, and you have to give those kind of things times too, because some people have been wounded in past
Mm,
relationships, so they have guards put up. And some people maybe are shy and they don't like let all their secrets be known
yeah.
at one time. And you really shouldn't anyways until you really, you know, get to know somebody better. But I think that you have to be patient in learning about somebody. It's just like when I used to take my girls shopping for a prom dress, I would say, all right, we're going to get a dress. And I would say 90% of the time, the dress that they ended up with was one that they didn't even want to try on
Wow.
because they didn't think it looked good off the hanger. But once they got it on, they realized that it was more than what they bargained for. And I think a lot of times, like when you're dating, you just don't give enough people a chance because you might go out with them based on their looks. And then all of a sudden, they might be like maybe a little withdrawn or holding back, or they might just be having a bad night or have had a bad day and they don't know you enough to like tell you what's been going on in their life, and then you just get a bad read on it. You're like, oh yeah, that's not going to work out, I can't be with that forever.
Yeah.
But yet you're basing forever on one little encounter. You can't do
Mm,
that. You got to give a relationship time to bloom and grow, and so you got to kind of hang out a little bit to see what that person's really about, and give them a break and get to know them a little bit, and that takes time.
yes. Wow, that's really good information. So I hope y'all are taking this and going to utilize this because I know I definitely am for sure. I'm definitely hearing that. Definitely got to give people a chance and be patient with people to allow them to, be open. Because like how you said, they could have had, things that has happened in the past that have them shut off or with a guard. And so being patient is key too. Wow.
It really is. When I first met my husband, I had been burned and I was really not trusting of any relationship. So I kind of had a guard up. I really wasn't going to let myself be known like very easily. In fact, even when he started to really, care about me, I'd just say, "Oh, you don't, you just love hanging out with me. You don't even know me enough to love me," and I would
Yeah.
tell him that, and he would just be like, "No, I really do," and I'd kind of be putting him off a little bit just because I was kind of scared to get into a relationship. So he was so patient with me and it has paid off and we have such a great relationship. But I will say, if he was not very patient, like a lot of people aren't patient enough to end up with a good relationship.
Yeah.
Like relationships take a lot of work and they take a lot of time to get to know somebody, so you have to give it a little bit of time to see if that person's the right fit or not. And so if
Yeah.
you don't jump into it physically, it gives you that time to go on the bike rides and go for walks, down
Wow.
Painted Creek Trail and talk and get to know somebody and let them know that
Mm,
they can trust you to share who they really are, and then you can really know somebody and know if they're going to be a good fit.
wow. And that is so good. And I believe that Gary, he saw the value in you. So he did not mind waiting and being patient. And I think that's for anybody, if they really see the value of that person that they're talking to and, they can tell that it's, a guard up or some walls is there. I think that if they really see the value in that person, they'll wait. I know I will wait.
Yeah.
I'll definitely wait if I see the value there, and I'm like, okay, cool. Let's just be patient because let's see where this go. Wow.
And it's true too, because I think like too, that statement of just making someone's life better because you're in it. and you making sure that the other person's life is better, and they're making sure that your life is better because you're in it. Well, that's what happened with Gary. Like when he was with me, we just had so much fun. We would literally run out to dinner and then run back. And we did so many fun sports and things like that together. And it was just so much fun. And really, literally, I wasn't even sure if I wanted to spend my whole life with him, but I just knew I did not want to be without him. I knew my life would not be as good without him.
Wow.
So I think, like, just intentionally making sure that you are adding value to another person's life by
Mm,
you being in it so that you can give account for that stewardship and that time and that relationship so that even if you don't end up together, that person is going to benefit and grow as a result of hanging with you for that time.
yes. Wow. That is so good. Which and it's so awesome that you hit on something about intentions, which we can actually go into the next actual, topic. So, what would you say are the proper intentions to have while dating?
I think it's just to know that you're going to enhance somebody's life by being in it, and that is going to put your best foot forward. So that is going to put the other person ahead of you. And that, of course, is God's rule for any relationship, anyways, right? Is to consider
Yes.
the other person as better than yourself. So when you can consider the other person's needs as more important than your own, it's going to put you on a different playing field. So no longer are you going to like deal with the relationship selfishly. In fact, selfishness is going to be the big destroyer of any relationship. And so if you're going to start a relationship selfishly looking for what is in it for you, you're going to be on
Mm,
a bad footing anyways because that's not what longevity in any relationship can be based on is selfishness.
wow.
So, just starting to say, like, what can I add to that person's life? What can I do? Oh, they've been wounded. What can I do to help them trust people again? And, like, or say that you're dating somebody that has very high standards and just to, like, let them know that you can be trusted, that you're not going to try to cross their lines or going to try to take it further than they're ready or, try to, like, do things that they don't want to do or just things that they've maybe had problems in their past. So I
Yeah.
feel like just to help people trust that dating can be pure and it can be holy and it can be healthy and it can be, exciting and there's fun things to do and that's the kind of stuff that is going to
Mm,
make you more attractive to somebody because they're going to see that it's not all about you.
yes, that's so true. I'll say when I had actually realized that when it came to, looking for someone for marriage, I said, wow, I really want to find someone that I can do the rest of my life with and enjoy every moment. If we're just at home, I can enjoy just talking to her at home. Like, if we're out to eat, I'm just enjoying talking to her out. Whatever that it is that I'm totally enjoying her. And so now the way that I do approach, if I'm going on a date or when I'm looking at women, I'm like, is this a person that I can do the rest of my life with and just enjoy who they are? And and I know that they would enjoy who I am and like how you said that we could, make each other better. And so that is so good. Oh
I think too, you
gosh.
can kind of tell how the relationship is going. Like if you're always like, "Hey, I think this, I think that, I think this." Where if you really are wanting to get to know somebody, you're going to be like, "Hey, what do you think about this?"
Mm,
Like a lot of times I'll just go into Gary's office and I'll just sit and I'll go, "Hey, what do you think about this?" Like even now I'll do that.
yeah.
But especially when you're dating, when you find yourself always wanting to say what you think or what you're looking for or bring out your 50 must-haves in the
Yeah.
relationship or something, rather than like saying, wow, you're like that. I never even thought I'd meet somebody like that, but that is so cool. That's so different. That's so refreshing. What do you think about this? Or starting to find out what they think
Mm.
about things and just be interested in who they are.
Wow. So ask those questions find out what they like, what they enjoy, and show interest in it.
Right.
Mm,
It's everybody can be interesting, but
yeah.
not a lot of people are interested.
Mm. Well, can you tell us the difference between that two? Because that's really good. So, what's the difference between the two?
Well, you can be really interesting. You can have a lot to say. You could be really cool. You could be up on things, but how many people are really interested in getting to know you?
Wow.
How many people are really interested in
Mm.
getting to know the way you think about things or what makes you tick. And so I think like being interesting is great. I love people that are interesting. I could pick their brain all the time, but when they're interested in you, it's a different thing. You feel like so sought after. And everybody wants to feel important and noticed.
Wow.
And when you make somebody feel like a $1,000,000, that's a person that's fun to be around because you're always drawn to the person that thinks highly of you. So when you can let somebody know that you're interested in them, they're going to be drawn to that.
I am speechless. I could end the podcast off of that. Like that is so good, which we're not though. But wow, that is really good. Wow, I've never heard that before. Wow. You know what? Let me make sure I'm checking my heart, making sure I'm not the interesting guy, that I'm the guy that's interested in whoever that is. Okay, wow, that is really good, Karen. Okay, so let me ask you this. So how can people, deal with hurt that they've been through before getting into dating again?
Well, you really do have to be careful that you don't carry your hurts from one relationship into another. Sometimes it is just bound to happen, and that's why we do have to be patient with people. But dealing with a wounded animal is very dangerous, isn't it?
Yes.
They always say, don't go near an animal that's wounded because you never know what they're going to do. But it's the same with people.
Yes.
You don't, when you're dealing with wounded people that have, you just touch them and they're just like, whoa,
Yeah.
so you just really want to be careful that you realize that the new person you're dating didn't do anything to you. So you have to wipe your slate clean. Go through a healing of your emotions, go pray it through and get along with God and get whole and healed, and then start again with a new person, but realize that they're not the ones that hurt you. When we have that root of bitterness, it says if you have this unforgiveness, it can cause a root of bitterness, and thereby many people can get defiled by that if it's not dealt with. Because you can project the same thing that someone else did to you, you can project it onto other people who didn't even do it to you.
Wow.
So we want to be careful that we leave our hurts with Christ, that we get forgiveness of them, we get freedom from them, we set that person free, and we go to the next relationship with a clear slate so that that person doesn't feel like they've done something wrong or that they have to apologize for something, but that you're giving them 100% chance too.
Karen, I know why you write books. Like this is amazing. That is really good. Wow. That is really good. Wow. All right, so this question is going to actually tie to that question. I'll say it's kind of like a sidebar to it. So how does a person actually look forward after having a bad past?
Well, the first thing you have to make sure is when you have the past, I have dealt and helped a lot of people that have had very awful, traumatic things happen in their past that were threatening their present and their future. But you know what Paul said? He said, forgetting those things that are behind and reaching forth unto those things that are before, I press towards the mark for the prize of the high calling of God in Christ Jesus. So we have to leave those things in the past. A lot of times where there's been like even abuse of situations or things, I'll say to somebody, get a calendar with that year on it, circle the day, and leave it there. That was then. And today is today. And Jesus saved us, he saves us, and he will yet save us. But we have to leave those things behind. Like you can't make them part of your day.
Yeah.
And your past should not ruin your present or your future. The present is what you have. Like, and you have to reach forward to what you have in front of you. Jesus gives us a new slate. He says that our life can go from glory to glory to glory by his Spirit. So we want to give this day, this new day, a chance. It's called the present because it's a present. It's a gift to you.
Wow.
So you leave that past where it was and know that you can benefit not because of it, but in spite of it. And some people, they'll use it as an excuse to fail, or some people use it as a reason to succeed. I would rather not use my past as an excuse to fail, but I'd use it as a reason to go beyond what happened back there.
Yes.
So I think, like, if you've made some mistakes in dating in the past, you know, realize your mistakes. And just like John Maxwell has a great book, it's called Failing Forward. When you fail, you fail, you learn from your mistakes and you grow from them and you go forward with it.
Yeah.
And you make new intentions. Yesterday's gone. You have today. Now you learn from your mistakes and be a better man and be a better woman. And you know what? And let the next person benefit from your wisdom and the growth that you had from the mistakes that you've made in your past. We're all human. We all make mistakes, but we also have the propensity to be more than conquerors through Christ. And so we can take our mistakes and learn from them and grow and be stronger from them.
Wow. This is crazy. This is good, Karen.
And don't keep
Wow.
rehearsing your past.
Yes.
Don't keep going over your shame of what you've gone through in your past. If you find yourself continually going back there, look and see if you really have an awareness of how Christ sees your past. Have you really given it over to God? Have you really asked for forgiveness? Have you really, turned away and did that 180-degree turn and repented and gone a different way? Because if you did, then leave it back there.
Yeah.
As far as the east is from the west, that's how far the Lord has removed our transgressions from us.
Wow.
So there's no reason for us to keep rehearsing them if God's chosen to forget it and forgive us.
Wow. That's true. I agree. I know for me, I have to intentionally, for me, what actually helped me to look forward after having a bad past is I have to know who God says that I am. And through that has helped me because I know I'll probably always think of myself incorrect, because I'll always have deciding factors, other voices on the outside saying this and that. And I think for me, what really has helped me be able to look forward and not worry about the past at all was now I know how God sees me. I know my identity. I know who he says that I am. So now my validation isn't caught up in any other person. Even if I value them, they may have great value to give to me, but I know my identity isn't caught up in them and they could see me incorrectly. I look at myself every day and I see myself incorrect. So I have to ask God, how do you see me? And that gives me my confidence to, move forward after having a bad past. So that's really good.
That's right. God is redemptive. And if God says that he makes all things new, then who are you to keep saying that he can't do that?
Yes.
Because he does do that with you. And I feel like it's an affront to him if we keep bringing up our past when he's chosen to forget about it. So we have to see, like, that is so powerful too. I mean, when you know who you are in Christ, and, we also know who the accuser of the brethren is. That's the devil. And he can just, he's the one that's going to be accusing you, and trying to get you to, look at yourself as not who God made you to be.
Yeah.
But, we have to see ourselves the way God sees us. He's redeemed us. He's called us by name, and he's given us new hope, and we can go with him from glory to glory. We don't have to live in the mistakes of our past.
Yes.
So leave those things back there. Don't keep bringing them up. Don't keep bringing them up in your mind or seeing yourself as like, oh, I can never break free from that. No, for this we have Jesus. That's why Jesus died, is so we could break free from that.
Yes, yes, that is so good. So I want you everybody to make sure you remember that those thoughts that you may hear about yourself or that you may even think about yourself, and if it isn't healthy, if it isn't good, that is not God. That is not Jesus talking. That is the enemy. And if you're not even a believer, this podcast is also to even just share wisdom on the God that we believe in. And the God that we believe in, he has amazing thoughts for you. His thoughts for you are amazing. His plans is for you to prosper. And it's amazing. It's for everybody. It's not just for the people that believe in him. It's for everybody. And that's the exclusive access to this amazing God that we serve. And so it's amazing. So I just want to encourage you to know that when you're hearing these thoughts that it's not you. It's definitely not you. It's somebody else that has an actual mission for your life. And you actually have someone else on the other side that has a mission for your life, for it to prosper, something amazing. And for me, myself, I like to believe that my life has been an amazing testimony for those that did know me before I got saved. I think they can see the evidence that once I got closer to Jesus, and I actually gave my life, the way that I began to think, the way that I began to move was it was wild. You can't even really explain it. So just want you guys to just think about that. I'm not pushing anything on you, but it's just good food for thought for y'all to start to think on. So thanks a lot, Karen. So this is a really good one right here. I love this topic. So what are some warning signs on being led by your emotions?
Well, when you're led by your emotions, you do kind of what you feel like doing, and so, I mean, we're spirit, we're soul, we're body. But in your soul is your mind and your will and your emotions, the things that you think, what you decide to do with your will and the way that you feel about things, which is your emotions. So a lot of times if you say if you're run by your emotions, you're going to just say hey, this is what I'm feeling here for this date. It's not as intentional. But if you're run by your spirit man, you're going to say, okay, I'm going to do this from a spirit man's strength. So this is what's right spiritually, and it's going to put your emotions in check. So when your emotions start to get away with you, or your physical self starts to get away with you, your spirit man is going to be strong enough to put everything underneath that, and it'll show you that, and it will empower you to make your decisions spiritually instead of emotionally or physically. For example, say that even if you get up and you say, well, I don't feel like going to work today, you're not going to just be run by your emotions. I don't feel like going on this date. I don't feel like doing this. I don't feel you don't get that's an immaturity, but we want to be led by the Spirit of God. And that way we will have our emotions in check. We will have, it's almost like an accountability. You're not allowing your emotions to go unchecked. You're not allowing your feelings to govern who you are and what you do. And so that's the biggest thing. But the only way you can do that is by building up your spirit man. And just like you were encouraging people, that have made some mistakes in their past and things it's beautiful to have some accountability people in your life and reach out to a friend that is strong spiritually that can walk alongside of you if you've had some issues in your past that you're trying to break free from. Some of those things are pretty heavy that you can't do it alone. God didn't make us to live alone. So even Moses had to have his hands held up in battle, and we're not even Moses. So sometimes we need our hands held up in battle, but get that accountability partner, get somebody who's going to pray through with you and, things like that where you can, say, hey, check in on me, would you? Hold me accountable and build up your spirit, man. Read the Word of God. Get together with other like-minded believers, in a prayer time or praise time or Bible study so that you can build up your spirit, man, so that you can be more spirit-led than led by your emotions and your physical feelings.
I agree. I love that. I know for me, and a lot of people that I personally know that have grown, past a lot of hurt, a lot of pain, and things that has happened in the past. They had an amazing support group, people that was around them. It was really the people that they were around that blessed them. Because I know for me, for my own experience, I was able to get a untainted perspective, right? So I'm already hurt, probably already did horrible stuff. So the way that I view is going to be incorrect. And so to be able to have people around me that can see clearly and help me say, "Hey, you're not seeing that clearly. Let me help you see that more correctly." And that, I know that's helped me a lot now to have a better perspective. And I've seen that also for a lot of friends that have actually have good people that's around them to help mentor them and grow them.
It is true. Community is so important. A lot of times you do have filters, just like a camera filter. You've got these filters, and you are seeing through the filter of what your experience
Yes.
is. And so to have other people to call some light and to be able to share some depth and to get you some steps to normalcy is really important. And there's a lot of good, like our church here has a lot of groups that the guys get together and stuff and hold each other accountable. And that's really going to be important, especially if you have gone through some troubles in your past and you need to get on a right footing. You're not going to do that on your own. It's
True.
really helpful to have community.
I agree. I agree. So, with you saying just all this amazing stuff, Karen, I gotta ask you this. When are you gonna write us a book for singles and dating and stuff like that? We need a book for that. We know you got
I'm
the
waiting for you to write it.
Okay, well, so I guess you guys, I'll be writing one. Karen will be assisting me
I
though,
will.
for sure.
I
Yeah,
will.
definitely. That'll be amazing.
But no, I think it's really important that people have really healthy views of dating because you want to be able to date somebody in your at your church, and then if you see that it's not working out, that it's healthy enough that you could go out with somebody else even in the same group, and there's not any hurt feelings, but everybody's
Yeah.
still better for it.
So, you know what? This question, I hear this a lot. Okay, how do you properly uh I guess you can say in the dating phase with a person that you like, I don't think that this is the person that I want to, continue to pursue or go further with. So how, what's some advice that you can give people on how to end that where, they can still have somewhat of friendship?
Well, I think the whole thing is how you go into it, because if you have realized that you might be hanging around with somebody else's wife, then you're not going to take the
Yeah.
liberties that you would if you thought that it was going to be your wife. So I think like just the respect and the physical, I think that physical thing, you've got to be able to control that part in
Yes.
order to do that effectively. Because it's just like, you can get somebody to do something that they don't even want to do, but then afterwards they're not going to respect you for it if you break that relationship off.
Wow.
So that's where the problems come. So when a girl is given a little bit too much of herself and then you're breaking it off with her, she feels pretty abandoned or
Yeah.
used or, and vice versa. So I think like the best thing is to keep it on that friendship level until you are really sure it's going somewhere, because otherwise you are heading in for some wounded territory. And
Yeah.
then when you do break it up, but if you're just having fun with somebody, hanging out, checking it out, seeing what it is, and you're just walking forward with it, then you're seeing like, well, this isn't really where I thought it was going to go. That isn't as hard to back out of.
Yeah.
I really have fun with you. I've really enjoyed you. You really, opened my eyes to so many things, but I can see that we're just a little bit too different to make a
Yeah.
long-term commitment, but I've really enjoyed hanging out with you.
That's really good.
That's a lot
That's
different
really
than
good.
going full fledged. I mean, so many couples, I can't even tell you how many couples I've actually counseled that have literally moved in together, and then they're having this hard time because they want a committed relationship, but nobody's committed enough to get married, so they're just living with each other and they're having all these issues.
Yeah.
But it's because they're like trying to live a committed relationship and a non-committed relationship
Right.
at the same time.
Right.
So, a house divided, what's it going to do? It's going to fall.
Fall. Yeah.
So that's what happens. So I think the same thing is true even if you're not living together, if you're doing the same things, you really don't want to have a committed relationship and a non-committed relationship at the same
Yeah.
time. That's where the problem comes in. So if you're not committed, keep it not committed. If you're
That's
committed,
good.
commit.
You're commit. All right, and this is the last thing. Because I'm just thinking of some things that I've been hearing a lot, and I know that you are the person that can give good wisdom. So, for the guys and for the women, they're having a problem with how do you start this off with approaching to allow it to be that friend zone, right? Where it's still that, all right, yeah, we're friends, but we are being a little more intentional on seeing where it's going. How can, men and women actually approach, the opposite sex and ask them, to actually do it that way?
Well, it's funny because I always challenge people, especially when my kids had a lot of college kids coming around my house. I would say, hey, if you believe that he that finds a wife finds a good thing and shall obtain favor of the Lord, then you should be looking for a wife, because if you find one, you're going to obtain favor of the Lord, right?
Yeah.
So if you trust the word of God, that sounds like a good deal, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So you've got to be looking. So to look, you've got to be doing something. You've got to have you said intentional. I love that word. That's one of my favorite words for my life, is being intentional. So if you're looking, how are you looking? Are you going out for coffee with somebody? Even going up to somebody saying, hey, do you want to go grab breakfast with a couple friends after church? Or do you want to go, grab coffee together sometime? Or, do you want to go, hey, did you ever go for a walk down Paint Creek Trail? Would you like to do that? Or, I'd love to hang out sometime. Would you like to go, think of something like kind of light and fun to do.
Yeah.
Go for a bike ride or something like that. And then you just kind of just take it from there. You don't have to define everything. I think that's the whole problem. I think we're always trying to define something. Like, what do you mean? Like, he's trying to marry me? I think, like, somebody gets asked out, the first thing they're thinking is like, oh my goodness, that guy wants to marry me,
Right.
But I feel like we got to, like, get it away from that and just to say, like, hey, I'm single, you're single, I'd like some company. It's Sunday afternoon. I'd like to go, watch a movie or do something, like, and do it with somebody. Would you like to be
Wow.
that person, and just like keeping it pretty basic. Like, I don't know where this is going to go, but would you like to hang out? We can just get to know each other.
That would be amazing, for that to happen. And hopefully people that's listening to this podcast, they could be able to be a little light on, seeing where it's going instantly, right? Because I know for me, sometimes I don't always want to hang around always all my guy friends.
Right.
They're definitely cool. Like, they're amazing. But sometimes I like to hang around females. But, sometimes you feel like, if I ask this person because she's super cool, all of this, but you ask her, hey, you want to go to the movies or something? Instantly in the back of your head is, well, I really can't do that because 9 times out of 10, she's going to think it's something that is not. And probably vice versa also for women. I would imagine that women also have the same problem, that they probably don't want to always hang around all their girls. They probably would like to go out with a guy and go grab something to eat and it be totally, just cool. So, yeah, so everybody that's listening to this podcast, please stop making it so serious. Just be a little light on it.
Right, I agree. I mean, when I was younger, we did a lot of that. I'd play sports. I always hung around with guys, and they were friends. And it was just, I'd play sports with all different people and just have a blast and go run races with people. But it wasn't all so heavy like it is now. It's like, if you go out with someone, it's almost like automatically like, what do they mean? What are they saying?
Yeah.
Where's this going? And it's just like, just go out.
Yeah.
Play a game of racquetball with somebody. Like, go for a walk with somebody. Like, it is nice to have somebody to hang out with.
Yes.
And somebody to play a game with.
Yes.
Or somebody that you can ask to go to a wedding, and It doesn't mean that you want to necessarily marry that person or not marry that person. But that person might be somebody you might be wanting to get to know. So don't be afraid to get to know people. If you keep it nice and clean and keep those edges clean, you can do that so freely. Like you can enjoy people without getting all hung up on, oh, littering people in your past of all these wounded people.
Yeah.
Just enjoy getting to know God's people and making their life better and having fun with people.
Perfect. So everybody that's listening, Karen has just broke the ice. So uh it is free game for everybody now to go ask a person if they just want to go grab something to eat. And it could be nothing to it. It's just being friends. So thank you, Karen, that you just broke the ice on that because oh my goodness, that was definitely something that was, I feel like, definitely in this generation now, it is so tough. It's so serious. Like, if, oh, he asked her out. Oh, they're, no, man, we just want to go get something to eat.
I don't know why it changed so radically. Maybe it's these dating sites that have
It
put
could be.
like because that's kind of a new thing. So maybe that has put like more pressure on relationships, but when I was in dating, I mean, we didn't have that kind of pressure. We just had fun hanging out. There was a lot more groups. Like we had running groups and skiing groups and hiking groups, and we did a lot of things in groups. And maybe that would be fun if you could get groups of people doing stuff together too. That you could just say, "Hey, we're having a group meeting. Why don't you join this group with me? And we'll, see where it goes.
Yeah,
Just to invite somebody to come along with a group too.
I
That's
agree.
fun too.
I agree. Well, this show has been so amazing. I'm going to rewatch this podcast probably like 20 times and I'm going to take notes over and over because everything you said, Karen, it has truly, I know it's blessed me a whole lot. And I know that it's blessed everybody that's going to listen to this because you hit on so many points that I've heard people discuss and talk about and wonder. And of course, us being in a generation, we're going to define it what we think, we're in the inside, so we kind of need someone on the outside to kind of help us. So you have truly helped us on today's show so much. So I got a question, quick question. Do you like have any like classes or curriculums or anything that people can like sign up and take for whether it's relationships, whether it's marriage or anything like that?
I have a website on KarenBudzinski.com, and on it, like, there's different teaching things that people could benefit from, even on relationships. There's different
Mm,
blogs and things like that that you could, probably benefit from. From time to time, I do building better relationships classes. I think this next semester I'm going to be teaching on the Song of Solomon. So I'm taking a little departure from my Building Better Relationships classes, but when I do offer them, they're posted up there.
okay.
But I feel like there's a lot of hope for your generation, but you just have to be more real. So, because of all this miscommunication, you're just going to have to be more clear in your intent. So, you're going to have to maybe use a few more words than you normally would and say, hey,
Yeah.
that's not trying to put you like at ill at ease or anything. Let's just hang out and just play a
Yeah.
game together. Just wanting to hang out for fun, just for someone to do something with.
Yeah.
So I feel like just keep encouraging each other to just step out, hang out with people. I mean, say, hey, I'm going to my brother's. Why don't you come with me? Or just kind of fun stuff. Just to not make it so heavy.
Yes. Thank you so much. Yeah. So this is going to be so good. Thank you, Karen, for everything that you've given us today. It has been amazing. So I know everybody is so excited for this, and we're definitely going to have you back. That's without a doubt. Like, we're definitely, and I got to have Gary on because Gary, he's going to kill me. Gary's been telling me, like, you got to have me on here. I was like, Gary, we're going to get to you, man. You are a big dog. We're working our way up there. So
Yeah.
next time we'll be able to have you and Gary on. Gary, I didn't forget about you. I got you.
Good.
So everybody, once again, if you want to follow us on IG, you can follow us at It's More Than Just Dating. Also on YouTube, it's More Than Just Dating. If you want to see the actual visual, which I think is pretty cool, we got nice backdrops. You can see the amazing guests too talking. Also, we are on all podcast platforms. You can also find us there at It's More Than Just Dating. And once again, thank you everybody for sending in all these questions. We thank you for all the responses. I've been getting so many good responses that people say it has been helping them. And that's our goal. Our whole goal is to be able to provide useful wisdom and knowledge that y'all can utilize to have a better dating life that ends into better relationships, that end into an everlasting marriage. So thank you all. I appreciate all the support, and we will see y'all next time. It is More Than Just Dating, signing out. Peace.